Okay, everybody, welcome back. So, with this printmaking project, we're going to try out another way of making a monoprint. So to do that, we're going to actually use our stencils that we designed and cut out earlier to help create our design. So we're going to need our printmaking plate, we're going to need our stencil, and we're going to need a sheet of paper to print our design onto. So I'll set this paper off to the side for a moment. But basically, we're going to roll out some ink onto our plate. You can just roll out a little bit more and make sure I've got enough ink on here. Oh yeah, that's fine. And then we're going to place our stencil somewhere onto our plate so that we can create our design. So wherever we put our stencil is kind of where it's going to sit on our print. And I can see, where is that going to fit on my paper? My stencil might be a little big. Let's do right here. There we go. All right, so when we're putting down our paper on top of our plate and our stencil, we need to be pretty gentle because we don't want to move our paper around too much and smear our plate or smear our print. All right, then instead of tracing our image, this time we've created our print sandwich, our plate, our stencil, and then our paper that we're printing onto. And we're going to use a baren, if you remember this guy, a wooden spoon, or even the side of our hand to help press our paper really firmly onto the plate. All right, and I'm going to press over the whole paper. I actually might use my hand as well because it's a small paper. But I'm going to press really firmly. You see how I'm using the side of my hand or even sometimes my knuckles to help press really firmly with all my firm strength, pressing my paper onto the plate so that it really presses into that ink. Now, when I lift up my paper, let's see what kind of design I've created. Ooh, look at that! So you guys see, I have a silhouette or an outline of my bird. That's so cool. All right, so that's one way I can make this print. Let's set this off to the side and leave that for the drying rack. Another thing I can do is see what kind of ghostly image is left behind. So after I'm done with that first print, I can even pull up my stencil and try to make another print. Let's see what happens if I try to print with just what's left over. Okay, I'm gonna be pretty gentle here. My paper's falling apart. Ooh, okay, can you guys see this? There's a really ghostly little image of my bird. I can just barely see it, left over in that ink. All right, so those are things I can do with my stencil to make a cool design. Another thing that I can do is create layers. So if you have a print that is all the way dry, I'm going to use this one that I think has dried out now. If you have a print that is all the way dry, you can actually layer another color or another design on top of that. So I'm going to add another color. You guys, if you're changing colors, will probably go to another color station. I'm going to mix this color just so I have another color that you guys can see. There we go. Okay, hopefully this is nice and dark enough to see. All right, and I'm mixing kind of a dark blue here, very purple. Got my red and my blue together. All right, now this is normally in between layers, I would clean off my plate and start with a clean plate. But this time, I'm just trying to show you guys some layers really quickly, so I'm not worried about cleaning things off. You guys will clean off your plate every time you switch a color. All right, so this time I'm gonna see what happens if I maybe make a layer where let's move my bird around a little bit. Let's make it at a different angle and move it a little bit on my paper to see what happens when I add a second layer to my design. Okay, so I've made my print sandwich, got my plate, my stencil, and my paper that I want to print on. And now, there we go. I'm going to use my hand to press that paper really firmly into the ink. Okay, let's test it out. What will it make? Ooh, look at that. So we can still see part of my design from earlier, but now part of it is covered up with this purple ink. All right, so I hope you all get to experiment and try a couple different prints and a couple different ways of making printmaking. But we are going to take that print I just made off to the drying rack, and you guys will get a chance to make some art as well.